Hi, in a recent video I already discussed to you and explained about the using a merge element which provided PHPWine provided for us here, and here, which is this guys right here, and including the installation as well. And in that approach, the value I already discussed to you that in a value we accept only a three type of value. First is a array, second is a string, and third is a callable. If you want to understand that, I highly recommend it to you to watch my recent video. Title is Merge Element and Child Element Array version 1.4. So now I'm going to discuss to you about this one. So and how this help you in creating a child using child element array keys. So this is gonna be the child element array keys, the child attributes, value, and inner. I already discussed that, hope you already know that. And now we are going to use a condition. So what the point? So remember that when you are going to use the merge a div here, something like that, a div, which element you prefer, make sure you install that element, and then you can use the string, say hello, right? And then inside the div you have a string. So and with that approach you can create also a child, right? So for instance, h1 hello, say hello, and then the append para for phi, say world, and when you hit refresh you will see that hello world inside of the div tag, and that's gonna be your child. However, you are not able to create a condition with this kind of approach. So in order to achieve the conditions, all you have to do is to use a callable value type, which is a callback function. So right now inside of this here, inside of this block of code, you can create the conditions. So for instance, if it is true, remember that if that is true, so let's say return hello. So since that is true, expect that there is a value hello. Okay, so that is true inside of that hello. So if that is false, inside of the div tag, there's obviously there's no show or there's no data with render because the conditions meet false. So what's the point? The point is you can create conditions inside of this element using this kind of approach. But I warn you that you should not use a void for this kind of function. A void is strictly not allowed to use in this kind of approach, because the return clause must be send back the value, the data that you bring here inside of this block of code to return in this element, which is merge in PHPWine, then send back to echo close, then render into browser. So what happens if you use echo or print here? Say echo and then say hello. As you can see, it will print twice right here. Why? And if you observe, not just a print twice, it also render outside of the div tag, right? Because the PHP engine don't understand you. If you execute that, it must be recognized as a new block of code. The engine must understand you if you use a return clause. The return clause means you send this back to this function, and the functions hold all the data within this block and then execute through the close echo close PHP. So now as you can see here, I didn't save yet, I'm sorry, didn't. And then here we have only one hello, which is executed inside of the div element because we use the hello, I return clause. So I strictly not allowed. If you use a function or callable type, you either in array type you should not use the print or echo close, only return close. Okay, otherwise you will experience that kind of error, which not good for you as developer and for the design implementation, of course. And now, what if the point is, if we are using the child element, if we are working with a callable, something like this here, remember this is going to be in a string and looking for the string, and the merge is a string function, so we can use that inside that. And then we say return hello. If we turn hello, it's gonna be still rendered for us, right? So let's try to remove. Of course there's no echo, the div is not yet rendered because we don't see echo. So we return hello with a single L inside of this div tag here, because we use a return clause which will pass to the value here and send back to the value, and then render from this element and take and shoulder of this merge element and print into the browser. So what if, as you can see here, we have two block of codes, which is a div. First this div, and second this layer, which have an inner, right? So what happen is, using this child element array approach, I want to create a condition that if that is true, if the conditions met true, the only execute is this block of code, and this gonna be still hide or not show, should be not display on the browser. So how can we achieve that? If with this, if the merge, we can use a callable type in array child. What kind of approach we can use in order to achieve that? Very simple, and that is element sort child element array key child inner layer approach. So all you have to do is to copy that, and then here paste that in that block of code, and then copy right here, remove that, and make sure that the element is wrapped inside this empty array before you return. Okay, what happened if you return that without wrapping that? What happened? Let me check. There is an error, and syntax error, of course. Let me check. I think no. Okay, so return, it's gonna be return values here. Okay, because we need to end that, because I have another block of codes here, and then of course I need to close that for this return clause. Okay, so now you can see here it's not rendered, it's rendered the bar dump, which is telling you something wrong because that's in an array. So all we have to do to fix that, make sure you are that your element is wrapped within inside this empty array. Okay, so let's grab that and then paste right here, and then there you go. So let's, of course we expect that this is gonna be a render, because since we don't operate the condition yet, that's fine, and we expect the same output before, and the same what we have here, the same. Okay, hello world, which is the first is the second block, and this hello is from the first block of code. So now we create conditions, right? If for instance let's say 1, and then remove these things here, and then paste right here, and say let's grab this one here. So that's fine, I think that's fine. Okay, let's make this big, and let's copy this once again as well, and then here, and it's gonna be for variable named Sue. Okay, for the two variable, and then expect that you have to close that here, and then expect that we are going to return the value inside to the empty clause of the div. So the goal here is, if we met conditions true, it must be returned here, otherwise return this block of code. So let's do that. Let's create condition, if that is a true, so since this is gonna be true for first example, you have to run that in the first example, and that is true, return the 1, otherwise return the false. Let's say false, the 2. Oh my god, it's a 2, right? Return the 2. So let's go to the browser and hit that. You say here, of course we return only the hello because we met the condition and the conditions met true. Okay, so since this is a true, the only execute layer is the 1, and then the second execute layer is 2. So now, okay, so let's go back. So I hope makes sense. Hope you understand that this element array do nothing for you. Of course, it's to give you a way to create a condition inside of this child. So the child that you put here and store in a variable, when you met the conditions, will be executed the same as before, not as a child, but also not as the third child, but as a second child from this merge element of PHPWine. Okay, so now how about this inner layer here? Can we do that? Of course, yes. Remember that in a GitHub saying that in here saying that child layer and inner layer. So what is the inner layer? From here to here, consider that inner layer because you are wrapped, the element, the block of codes right here is wrapped inside of this empty array, which is the key is a inner layer. So what we're going to do is to copy that here and then make a ton of codes right here. So let's copy this and store that also in a variable right here. So since we are in let's say inner underscore 1 equals, since inner underscore 1 and inner underscore 2. So here inner underscore 1 and inner underscore 2. So when we met the conditions true inside of this inner, that means inside of this div tag I want to execute inner 1, otherwise I want to execute inner 2. So let's create the conditions. Let's say return, and then okay, so let's say return that, and then right here, and then so let's say for instance this is gonna be true and return that, and return the first block of code and in the second block of code right here. So now this is very clear. I'm inside of the inner. So if the conditions met true, the only block of code rendered is this, right? So let me check that. Yes, this is. Now if we get this false, the block rendered is this too, not this. Hello. So this have a 2 block of codes. So let's say called inner here so we don't confuse. Inner A code, and then let's say gonna be V, so we have a comparison. So even though that we see that the PN span is different, I think that's fine. So now since this is H false, this gonna be block of code will be executed, right? Because we stored that on else. Now there is a condition inside of this third child. Now since this is a true, we expect that the inner one or the P element will be executed and the span will be height. So let's try it. So what we expect here, that the inner one will be executed inside of this element child as a third child element. So now if we get this false, what we have here will be expected that the render is the span, not the paragraph tag, so which is the span tag inside here. So hope makes sense, and hope this is gonna be all clear for you. What is this element sort? Element sort literally not do anything for you, but element sort will help you to create a conditions that will be executed that element based on the situations or based on the occasion. For instance, you work in a modulus, you work in a table, that you loop the table, and then that table have a different background, switch background, something like that, and this element sort function will help you to achieve that using this child element array. However, if you are in a child, you can use this approach, so that's gonna be another approach that you can achieve that modulus output as well. So hope makes sense, and yeah, that's all. So now I am done. If you like the video, please if you have a question, please put down a comment section when I upload those in YouTube, of course. And if you like this video, please hit like and share and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and happy good day.